All right, Downshift Pass Nation, my name is Chad, and thank you for checking out another one of my automobile reviews. Now, if you are new here, I'd like to welcome you. If you are not, welcome back. And I want to go ahead and just hop straight into today's review. I'm really excited about this one, guys. Today we are taking a look at the 2015 Maserati Ghibli. If you're Italian, you might pronounce it Ghibli, or so I heard. Please do not roast me in the comments for that. But yeah, let's take a look at this Ghibli. And I'm really excited about this review, guys, for a few reasons. One, this is not the SQ4 model. And you may be saying to yourself, well, Chad, why are you excited about this not being the SQ4 model? For starters, rear wheel drive. Now, for an automobile like this is a driver's car. It's also a luxury automobile, of course, so you have all your luxury accoutrements, but this is a driver's car. So rear wheel drive definitely gives this car a brand new characteristic that the SQ4, in my opinion, just does not have. Also, I also like to debunk a few myths about this car. If you're looking online, reading some of the reviews, especially from hardcore auto enthusiasts, they kind of flame this car a little bit. And I want to show you why they're wrong. Every time someone asks me about this car, I just say, you know what? You have to drive it to understand it. You have to drive it. This car is going to hit you on every emotional level. Of course, take a look at the styling. Take a listen to the exhaust. When you feel the drive, it's all the emotional things that you're going to love about a car, but also the practical things you're going to love about the car. So we're going to talk about all of that stuff. So let's just go ahead and just hop right on in. We're going to do our standard exterior tour, interior tour, do an audio test. I probably should scratch that. That was not. Anyway, hey guys, quick editor's note. I tried the whole time I had the vehicle to get my Bluetooth to connect. I could not get it to connect. I don't know what's up with that. I checked Google, I checked Reddit threads. It seems to be a known and common issue with the car. So if you are going to look for one, be sure to check that out. But make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video, because instead of that audio test, I have another style of audio test that I think you guys will enjoy a little bit more. All right. And of course, my favorite, drive and just talk about the drive. So let's hop right on in, guys. And for starters, let's just take a look at these headlights, this front grille. If you remember the Quattroporte, which came out before this one, it's very reminiscent of that. They decided to make this car very low, very wide, and it gives it a very aggressive stance. Long hood in the front, great proportions. It's definitely a rear-wheel drive car proportion, where it looks like the car is being pushed when technically it is from the rear wheels. Then on the side here, 19-inch wheels. They are staggered, so 245s in the front, 275s in the back, and again 19s all around. You do have your slotted rotors. Red brake calipers on this one, but if you're searching around for one, you'll see so many different colors of brake calipers that'll make your head spin. And then in the back, my favorite, you guys know I love real exhaust, and this does have quad exhaust, and they make quite the noise. Boy, I tell you, quite the noise. Coming around to the other side here, take a look at this Maserati logo here. I love that. You have your chrome door handles, lights on the rear view mirror. Does come standard with a sunroof, of course. And I want you guys to tell me in the comments, how do you think Maserati did on the styling of this vehicle? I'll tell you something, I'll be real surprised if anybody calls it anything but sexy. That's a big word to use for a car, but this one has it. So let's take a look in the trunk here. Now this is classified as a mid-size car, so inside and outside you do have mid-size car proportions. This trunk is 17 cubic inches. So pretty standard for the class if you are looking at, say, a BMW 3 Series or a C-Class Mercedes. And then let's hop into the back seat, where if I had to ding this car for one thing, it's going to be this. Now, with 33 inches of rear seat leg room, sounds like it's a lot, but I can guarantee it's not. Now, I'm going to go ahead and hop back here for you guys' enjoyment. I don't even know if I'm getting the camera down enough so you can see that. I am 5'8", and I have the driver's seat in my seating position, and road trips, count them out. If you're in the back seat, if you're in the front, you're fine. Do have an armrest back here with some nice storage, nice cup holders, vents. Now again, this is a 2015, so it might be missing a couple of more modern features like a USB-C charger, but that's okay. One neat thing I think is cool is you can lock and unlock the doors back here. So do have your map pockets as well as map light. Now the color of this car, it's called Bianco. The interior color is this magnificent color. I'm going to call it peanut butter, because if I call it what Maserati calls it, I'll probably get into a lot of trouble. Let's go ahead and pop the hood and take a look at what it has under here. All right, guys, now this car is powered by a 3-liter twin turbo charged V6 engine. Pretty standard stuff under here. Everything is pretty much covered, so not much to see. Produces 345 horsepower in the non-SQ4 and 369 pound-feet of torque. That's below 2,000 RPM, so when you punch it, this thing really goes. And let's step on into the interior here, the front seat, and see what we got going on. Now I'm going to go ahead and start this car and let you guys listen to what this engine sounds like. All right, guys, moving on to the interior of the Maserati, and I'll tell you one thing, this one is spec'd out just right. The owner of this car told me he wanted a white one. He wasn't expecting this interior color, but he is happy he found it, and so am I, because this is something to look at here. I think it aids in the niceness of the car. So just taking a look at some of the features, you do have your memory seats here, power windows at all 4 windows, one touch up and down. You do have your powerful rear view mirrors, pretty typical gauges for the class. They do have this nice shade of blue behind them. I don't know if that's showing well on camera, but that looks really good. Steering wheel controls, and you do have steering wheel controls behind to control your radio controls. This car does not have any paddle shifters, but you can control it with the gear shift lever here. Speaking of the gear shift lever, this is one thing that you always hear a lot of people complain about. It's a little confusing at first, but once you get used to it, you get used to it. Foot has to be on the brake, obviously, and then you just come back and indention. One for reverse, another for neutral, the other for drive. It feels, since it's not going into an actual space, you might get confused on where it is, but I think once you drive the car every day, you'll get really used to it. Electronic parking brake, and you do have your drive controls here. Now this car does have sport, ICE, which is increased control and efficiency, which makes the car exactly what it sounds like. You have more control of the car. It's not going to be as loud, the transmission's not going to shift as hard, and it's going to be the most efficient mode. M is for manual, obviously, and then you have your traction control button here. Moving on to the center stack here, this is going to be your infotainment. It's an 8-inch screen, standard, no matter if you get the SQ4 or this base model, and it's how you control everything from your radio controls to your CD player, Bluetooth control. You do have some climate control controls here, but you also have it down below, which I love. I'm not a fan of having everything in a screen, because if the screen goes out and it's a very hot day when you're trying to go to the dealership to get it fixed or just whatever, you know, it's not a fun feeling. But you do have to control your heated seats here, which I am a heated seat fan, so I'll be using this screen all the time. This is the climate control screen, but again, it mirrors what is down here. This car does have navigation. Now this is a 2015, and Maserati was not dedicated to creating their own navigation system, so it's actually a TomTom system, if you guys remember that brand. Works just fine, but you know, nowadays 2020, use your cell phone, turn it on Bluetooth, Google Maps, that'll get you where you need to be. Phone controls here when you pair a phone, and then you do have a couple of more options for Sirius, and then your different settings for lights, locks, doors, just different settings right in there. So you do have 2 cup holders here, have a nice little storage compartment, and then you have a nice compartment here in the center console. Pretty typical glove compartment that is damped in line with felt, and it's also cooled, if you can see down in there, so it'll blow cold air in there so you can keep your drinks or whatever items you may have, chocolate, that you want to keep cool. You have your one-touch sunroof as well, and I love that it goes all the way back, as you can see. But other than that, that's pretty much it. Nice Maserati logo on the headrest, so when you want to take your Instagram photos, you'll look cooler, and whatever else you need. But you know, that's not what this car is about. We're about to get into what this car is about, and that is the drive. And I want to make sure you guys cut your phone, your TV, cut whatever it is up, because this V6 engine is unlike a V6 that you have heard straight from the factory. So let's get to it. All right guys, so I have the car in sports mode. When this light turn greens, I'm going to go ahead and mash on the gas and downshift and pass. We're just going to mash on the gas and go. This car doesn't have any type of launch controls or anything. All right, there we go. All right, did you guys hear that? All right, let me take it out sports mode. Sport mode on this car doesn't do much as far as, there's no adaptive suspension on this model. If you do want that, you can get that on the SQ4. Sports mode on this one definitely makes the exhaust louder. It opens up a valve. It makes the throttle a little bit more sensitive to your touch. And that's pretty much it. That is pretty much it. Transmission is gonna hold the gears a little bit longer as well, but this transmission is a pretty aggressively tuned transmission either way. So biggest thing I think you would use sports modes for is when you just want to hear your car a little bit more. I don't know if you can tell, after you mash the gas, there is a little bit of lag. Now again, this car is a twin turbocharged V6 engine. You know, usually with twin turbos, the whole purpose is to cut out some of that turbo lag. But again, 2015 automatic transmission, that's about standard for cars of that era. I mean, it's only 5 years ago, but the technology has moved so far in 5 years. But once it gets moving, it gets moving. And once you're already moving, man, this car will definitely take your breath away. Maserati claims a time of 0 to 60 in 5 seconds. The SQ4, they're saying it does it in about 4.5. Both of those are relatively quick, no matter how you cut it. 5 seconds feels about on par for what I'm getting as well. And for the sake of your listening pleasure, as well as mine mostly, I'm going to leave this car in sports mode just so we can hear everything. Through these corners. Sorry guys, I had to get quiet for a second. Through these corners, this car is pretty confidence inspiring. Makes you feel like you know what you're doing, even if you don't. I want to take it out of sports mode, and let's go ahead and just talk about the elephant in the room. And that is some of the switchgear inside of this car. Now, a lot of people always say, oh, a Maserati is just a glorified Dodge. Oh, the Ghibli isn't, you know, worth his price, worth his weight in gold. And I will say, you know, as a new car, it is pretty pricey. This car can be optioned up to 6 figures, believe it or not. But engineering is what makes this car a Maserati. Again, the engine is derived from Ferrari. The only thing that you'll notice that's familiar with a Dodge product is going to be the switchgear on the inside. But, you know, when Mercedes was doing the same thing, I don't feel like they got as much hate as Maserati did. The biggest thing that I can tell you guys, again, is go out and drive it. Do not listen to what all the other reviewers are saying. If this is your 5th review that you've seen on a car, hopefully it's the first and only, but if this is the 5th review that you're seeing on this car, I'm going to tell you something. It's not too much negative that I can actually say about this car. The infotainment will look familiar to certain Dodges. The window switches, those things are going to look familiar, but the things that counts, especially for this vehicle, definitely makes this car worth its price, especially if you can find a used one with pretty decent mileage on it. Now let's talk about ride quality here. Now you can get an SQ4 model with adaptive suspension. This does not have adaptive suspension. So suspension is definitely a sport tuned suspension, and I think it's more focused on the sportier side than the comfort side. For long road trips, it might not be the most comfortable car you've ever driven in, but for short stints, if you're not taking cross-country road trips, it's not too terrible. It soaks up bumps pretty well. It handles amazingly. Again, with that rear-wheel drive, I feel like it gives you a little bit more of a driver's feel. I've driven an SQ4 before, and once you start reaching its limits, it has a tendency to understeer. This does not have that that understeering feel, in my opinion. So I know I was talking to you guys earlier about some of the features that this car is missing in comparison to some of the competition, especially when it came out back in 2015. I think one of the most noticeable features is going to be a blind spot monitoring system. You know, instead of using computers or cameras or just whatever and having something showing up in the rearview mirror, this car, you do have to use your good old-fashioned eyes to figure out who is in your blind spot. Biggest trade-off on that, again, I feel like it's just the driving feel that you get from this car. If you want a driver's car, this is going to be it. All right, guys, and just some final thoughts about this 2015 Maserati Ghibli. Man, I love this car. I love the way it looks. I especially love the way it sounds. I love the way it handles. You know, you got your Ferrari derived engine. It's not too much that I can really hate on about this vehicle. If you are interested in one, I definitely think you should go check it out on the used car market. This is an absolute bargain for a luxury sports sedan. You know, they don't hold their values that great, which is unfortunate. But fortunately enough for you, you can go pick one up at an amazing price. So definitely make sure you check it out. I think you guys are going to love it just as much as I do. If you made it this far in the video, I definitely appreciate you watching. Be sure to smash that subscribe button. Definitely make sure you hit the like button and notification bell so you can be notified as soon as we post videos. And one last thing, I know I promised you guys a different type of audio test. Enjoy.